Hey everyone, hope everyone is doing well. Wanted to bring a pretty interesting activity, kind of fun, that I've been using a little bit differently, and it's been pretty interesting of an experience. So, we did a sensory writing activity where we found pencils and added different kind of experience to the pencil, right? We put rubber bands or we put string, sandpaper, different kind of textures on the pencil so that when we're holding the pencil, we're getting a different kind of input into the hand. So not the usual kind of input that a pencil is giving us, but a different one in efforts to increase the handwriting experience by changing the kind of input and feedback that we're getting into our fingers. All right, so here we have sensory writing part two, textures to write. So textures can provide different kinds of inputs, different kind of feedback into our hand, into our fingers, and change the writing experience. So it can, since it's a different kind of experience, it can be changing the kind of neural pathways that are acting through that experience, right? So by providing and adding different kinds of textures, right now all of a sudden we're experiencing a vibration feeling, right? And our brain experiences these different textures differently, right? Even in touch, the processing of touch sensations, we process light touch and deep touch, vibration and pain, temperature differently, right? So by adding these different kinds of tactile experiences, texture experiences, we're changing the neural involvement, right? The way that our brain is understanding this experience of this activity, and we're changing how that experience is processing into the brain. So, just a fun way to kind of try some different approaches to handwriting. So, our first one, sensory writing, was changing the pencil. So, what do you think we're going to do this time? Sensory writing part two is with our piece of paper. All right. So, what we're going to do is we're going to add some texture experiences. Oops, let me see the light. We're going to add some texture experiences to this paper and use it for handwriting tasks. Okay. So, what we can do is take a piece of paper and fold it in half, hamburger style. And then we fold it in half again the same way, but this time it becomes hot dog. But the names don't necessarily make a difference, right? We're just going to fold it like this so that when we open it up, we have four long rectangular sides to our paper, right? And what I want to do is add a different sensory texture experience to each one of these rectangles, right? That way we can use each different one during our writing and experience the different textures that we will be writing on. All right, so I'll bring you down here so we can look together. Okay, and I apologize for the light. I don't know why it is acting funny on me. All right, so the first one that I want to do is one that I commonly use, sandpaper, right? So if you have sandpaper at home, even just putting sandpaper underneath the piece of paper, when you're writing on that piece of paper, it's going to have a more vibrational kind of feeling. And just like we talked about, the brain processes different touch sensations differently: soft touch and deep touch, vibration, temperature, pain, right? They're processed differently. So when we add the sandpaper, our hand is getting that vibrational feeling. So no longer is that writing experience being processed in our brain the same. Now it's being processed as a vibrational input. So it's a different kind of experience that our brain is having, right? But we're not putting our sandpaper underneath this paper. What we're doing is creating a textured paper that we can use for other, writing opportunities. So I'm going to take some glue, put it on this rectangle, get my sandpaper on here. Okay, and these are the only pieces I have, but I'm going to make it work. Let me pause you so I can fast forward. Okay, I used some glue, got some glue on here, and I'm going to get my pieces on here, my sandpaper pieces. Okay, And here I've glued my sandpaper down. All right, a little pro tip. If you have one solid piece of sandpaper, it's probably going to be easier because I had to do a little um, Tetris style gluing here, but still fun, right? So even just as a way to explore different sensory feelings, different tactile, right? Tactile is that touch, different touch feelings. This paper will serve as something that can be explored and experienced in a touch kind of sense. So we have our vibrating feeling here through the sandpaper. All right, let me cover this with a book just to start the process of pushing it down and holding it down. All right, and we're gonna move to the next experience here. And what I wanna do with this one is I wanna use bristles from a toothbrush. Okay, so you can always make yours any which way you'd like, but the first thing we're gonna do is get glue into this rectangular section. Okay, and I actually put glue on this second and third one because what I can do is put a little bend in here to smudge them together. So get a little bend in here, just like this. And now I can smudge them together, get a little bit of a nice experience in my fingers here as I can feel the glue spreading. And I don't have to get my fingers dirty. Get the corners. Spread that glue. And this is a pretty cool experience too, actually, just spreading that glue, feeling that glue spread in between the papers. That could be a whole separate activity on its own. That's a mess-free way to get some nice kind of experience there. All right, open it up. Whoa, nice, beautiful. All right, so I have some scissors and I have my toothbrush with bristles. All right, I'm going to try to keep it contained into just one section here. So let's see if I can. Do my best. You know what? Maybe that's going to be a good idea to close this side off just for now. Just not to get any on that side. Yeah, good idea. Okay. So we're just getting our toothbrush bristles into here. Okay, let me pause you while I cut up the rest. Okay, cut it up, get the rest of it in here. Okay, so I totally cut off my whole toothbrush and I filled it up, and I know there's a little bit of a shadow. I'll move this for now for the shadow purposes. All right, and I will open this side up. Don't want to leave it too long, right? I don't want it to get stuck there, which it started to already, but that's okay. We're going to be putting some textures on there anyway. Okay, so I might need to get another little bit of glue on here. So let me do that now. Pause you one more time. Okay, I got my glue on both sides. And I'm going to now do the same thing that I did for the second and third part. Rectangles, I'm going to do it for this third and fourth. Put a little fold in here. And I'm going to squeeze these together. Okay, get some glue spreading to go on here. Okay, push that glue around, which again is a pretty nice experience actually. Okay, open it up. Oh yeah. Okay, so we have our sandpaper, which is going to be a vibrating kind of experience, I'm thinking, right? Our toothbrush bristles, which I think also will be like a hairy, vibrating experience. Okay, in our third column, I have some rice. I chose brown rice, but you can choose any kind of rice, or lentils, or dried beans, right? It's going to be interesting to write on that. Interesting to see how it feels to write on that. I'm going to try to keep it just in this third rectangle of space. Spread it out a little bit. Okay, I'm going a little generous here. All right, you can always use a spoon if you don't want to touch it with your fingers. And even here for spreading it, you can use a spoon or a straw, maybe my toothbrush that I cut all the bristles off of. Right, I know there's still going to be some that are going to dry off at the end. I just want to kind of pat them down as much as I can. Okay, and I'll let those dry, and I'll collect any remaining ones after it dries. Okay, so far so good. No glue on my fingers, well, just a little bit. Okay, so far so good. All right, and we have one more. So I have sandpaper, bristles, brown rice, and for my last one, I was thinking whether to use putty, just to roll it out and put putty, or cloth. So I think I'm going to do cloth because I can always put putty on top of it. So this is the cloth that I actually used for my pencil activity. All right, so I'm just going to measure out this cloth so I can cut a perfect slab. And you can use any kind of cloth, right? And cut it out, glue it on there as well. So give me 1 second to do that. Oops, okay. So I cut a piece of cloth here, and I'm gonna get my cloth right onto this fourth rectangle. All right, so another pro tip, maybe you wanna put the two pieces that are gonna need something heavy on top to be glued down next to each other, but that's okay. I'm gonna just use another heavy object. So I have my heavy book here for the sandpaper. Okay, let me see if I can find another book real quick. Let's see. Okay, I'm back. Here's another OT book. And I'm going to put that one on this side. And then we'll do brown rice. Okay, I'm going to put that one down on this side. Perfect. All right, and I will leave this for 24 hours. Okay, so I'm going to leave this here to dry. So I have sandpaper, bristles, brown rice, and my cloth. All right, so I'm going to leave those to dry. Okay, hang on tight with me, and let's see how those look after they dry. Okay, so this is about 24 hours later. So let's take a look. So now we take one book off. Perfect. I'll move it over here. Then we take another book off. Beautiful. Oops. All right, I have a little plate here for the rice. All right, and now here's what our final product looks. How our final product looks. So 4 different textures here. We have sandpaper. Now we have our bristles from a toothbrush. We have our rice. And we have our cloth. Okay, so just like when we change the texture in the pencil and the experience of holding the pencil, it provides different kind of input into our brain. So now we can use this to talk about and explore either for our fingers, okay, just as an exploration for our fingers, or to use with handwriting. So we can try having a piece of paper and even just practicing writing your name. So now that it's these 4 rectangles, we can see how it feels and compare them as well. So if I'm writing my name, So I'm getting like a vibrational input here into my fingers. Daniel. Okay. And what if I go to this one? Oh, that one's interesting. I don't know. This one kind of feels a little weird because it jumps from one piece to the other. Daniel. Okay. I wonder how the brown rice will feel. Okay. And what about the cloth? So the cloth is nice and soft. Interesting. You can feel it pushing through the paper, right? And even on the back of the paper now, they've all made a separate kind of indent. So here on our sandpaper and our toothbrush brittles, you can feel a bumpy kind of a texture, right? And our brown rice. So they actually have a interesting feeling, just feeling the letters, feeling the word through the paper now as well. All right, so just kind of an interesting way to change up handwriting. You can try 4 of these and see which one feels, good. Usually I have gone with the sandpaper one. I have tried a cloth one before, but these 2 were new ones, so I just wanted to give them a try. I was thinking to do one with putty, where we take out our putty, flatten our putty, and then put it back in the bag. I'm sure you could do the same with Play-Doh. And then that putty becomes a surface. So trying to write on that putty. That's also an interesting one, right? Have to be careful not to push too hard. That one could be good for pencil pressure. The cloth and the putty could be one to help with pencil pressure, right? Because if we go too hard, we're going to rip through our paper. And if we go too soft, then, well, I guess too soft you might still see. But especially for too hard of pencil pressure, you really need to be careful with that putty. So kind of an interesting one. And then also it pushes through the page, and you can even see how they push through all a little bit differently. So a little bit of a vibration kind of experience, or a deeper or a lighter. So just a kind of another way to explore handwriting is by not only changing the texture and the experience of the pencil, but also changing the texture and the experience of the paper. Okay, so you could always put just sandpaper or cloth behind a piece of paper that you're writing on, but here I wanted to create a paper especially for trying different types of textures. All right, so I hope you enjoyed. See if you can make some interesting textures on your own. Remember, the ones that I've only used in the past, which are successful or have been successful, is the sandpaper for that vibrational kind of a feeling, or the cloth for a deeper, but needing to practice that lighter touch kind of a feeling. So, but this rice and toothbrush brittles were pretty interesting also. So, and the putty was cool as well. So see which ones you can come up with. And I hope that it's helpful. I hope that it's fun. A little twist on handwriting, a little spin on handwriting, right? Adding a little different kind of a touch to handwriting. Okay, so hope everyone enjoys and stays safe, stays well. All right, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and wishing everyone all the best. All right, thank you, everyone.